Come to Helmuth Ford, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty.
Hi, this is Stacy from Shuttler Insurance Services. Come see me on the east side of the square in Sigourney for all your insurance needs.
Southern Iowa, it's rodeo time. The 2025 Albia Chamber Main Street Rodeo returns Saturday, June 7th at the Monroe County Fairgrounds. Rogue Rodeo brings us 8 thrilling events, a bull ride showdown, comedy from Ronald Burton, and the dazzling Diamonds and Dust performance. Gates open at 5 p.m. for food, fun, and high-energy action await. Tickets on sale now at albiachambermainstreet.org. Adults $15 in advance, $20 at the gate. Kids only $10. Saddle up for a night of tradition and thrill. Don't miss it.
Jace Race 2025 is Saturday, June 7th at the North Mahaska Junior Senior High School in New Sharon. The 5K starts at 8 a.m., followed by the 1 mile fun run. To sign up, use the links on the North Mahaska Education Foundation's Facebook page. Pre-registration guarantees you a t-shirt, but you can also sign up the day of the race. There will be some giveaways and first place prizes. In memory of Jace Carrico, who passed in 2008, the Carrico family appreciates the community's support. Gordy and Debbie present Country Legends at the Watch Your Opera House in Watch Your, Iowa this Friday, June 6th from 7 to 9 p.m. Find more information at gordyanddebbie.com. Tickets are $30 for adults, $15 for 18 and under. You can also purchase at the door or online at watchyoroperahouse.org. Go on a nostalgic musical journey as Gordy and Debbie present Country Legends this Friday from 7 to 9 at the Watch Your Opera House. A new event is happening in Hedrick, Iowa. Hedrick Shop and Rock the Block on Friday, June 6th from 4 to 8 p.m. on Hedrick Main Street. Your first stop is at the Hedrick Bank office of South Ottumwa Savings Bank to get your shopping bag and then check out all the great vendors. Plus, there's live music from 4:30 to 7:30. Bring your favorite people, your lawn chairs, and let's make it a night to remember in Hedrick. Enjoy live music, local vendors, food trucks, and fun. It's the Hedrick Shop and Rock the Block, Friday, June 6th.
Hi, I'm Brenda Pape, owner of the Unique Salon here in Oskaloosa, Iowa, and we are hiring a hairstylist. This station could be yours if you're interested in the job here at the Unique Salon. We have openings for a commission-based stylist or even a rental stylist. So if you're interested, please get back to me at the Unique Salon, 673-4969. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast. The podcast by the fan, for the fan. Of course, I am one of your hosts, the incomparable, never wrong Nick Bull. So happy you have found us. So happy you joined us. If you're here to talk wrestling and have a good time and find out what other people are watching, this is the place to be. Of course, I'm never wrong Nick Bull. I'd be remiss if I did not introduce to you my tag team partner. He is one half of the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions. He's also one half of the co-host of this show, Card Subject to Change. He is also a co-host of the Wrestling with Fitness podcast with our friend Zach Takis. Of course, though, I am talking about the Wizard, CZ. Wiz, how you doing?
Man, I am doing all right. I am. This feels like the first weekend in a while, and maybe it's only been a couple weekends where I've just had next to nothing to do.
Well, I mean, because the rest of the summer looks like it's booked up.
Well, that's fair.
Next weekend's really busy. A lot going on, right? And so on and so forth. But, yeah, this was kind of like the calm before the storm on the wrestling side of things.
It really was. And I'm not saying that I'm ungrateful for the travels that I participated in over the last couple of weeks. APW up in Waterloo, Midwest All-Star Wrestling in Rochester, Minnesota. Thanks to Crander Q. He didn't have a hot tub full of pizza rolls like some of our other podcasting friends, but he treated me pretty nice and got us a vending table. So that was cool. That was a good weekend. But this weekend, just time to breathe.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. It has been nice, and it's been nice to process all this wrestling that's going on. A lot going on in the wrestling world. Big thing that happened just, as we record this on Sunday evening. Last night there was a pay-per-view AAA event in Mexico where Alberto El Patron, who is Alberto Del Rio, dropped the title to El Hijo del Vikingo, who is now the AAA champion. Of course, that was spoiled on Monday Night Raw when they said that the match would be for the AAA title before, they spoiled the match essentially. But that happened last night. But we've got other stuff to talk about, right, CZ? We don't need big time events to have a wrestling show.
Not at all. We're in our wheelhouse today. We've got another guest. Another first-time guest. We have a lot of those, and I'm grateful for any first-time guest, but even more so when we are outside of our general area. This young man is based out of Oklahoma. He wrestles in, he mentioned Colorado, Kansas, Texas. He is one half of the Only Friends tag team. We'll talk a little bit about that, but let's welcome in Mr. Logan Knight. Logan, how are you, buddy?
I'm great, guys. Good to be on.
Welcome to the show, man.
There he is. Welcome to the show, man. I'm telling you guys, we're going to have a good time here because our guest is wearing an FTR shirt. So we got to get that out of the way. He's going to represent, man. He's going to be, we're going to have a good time. And we're glad you're here, Logan Knight. And thank you for finding us and tuning into our corner of the world. We want to hear more about you in a little bit, but I'm going to ask you what I ask every other first-time guest that comes to the show. That's on the show. Why pro wrestling? What was it that got you in and kept you in and made you want to become what every wrestling fan has that thing that got them into wrestling. What is it that got you into wrestling? Why pro wrestling?
So I think wrestling was like thing for me. Like, how every kid in their life has that first thing that like their attention. It's just like, you're like, oh my God, that was wrestling for me. I was like 3 years old when I found out about pro wrestling. My uncle was living with us at the time, and he was showing me. I was born in 1999, and he was showing me I think it was 2001 WrestleMania. When I was like, so it was like 2003, 2004. So he was showing me 2001 WrestleMania, and it was Hardys versus the Brood versus the Dudleys in that ladder match, and I just remember thinking that was like, I was 4 years old, 5 years old at the time probably, and I thought that was like the craziest thing I've ever seen or thought that could ever be done by a human being. So it was just like captivating. And then after that, it's the only thing I ever wanted to be. But like when you're growing up and learning the harsh realities of life, you kind of, it's like when you're in kindergarten and the teacher's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, oh, professional wrestler or like an actor or doctor. It's like one of those things where it's like shooting for the moon. You don't think it's ever going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're here now. So what was that crystallizing moment that finally decided I absolutely have to do this?
So I was in college. I was 19. I took a gap year after high school, and I was going to the University of Central Oklahoma in Edmond, and I had saw a flyer for oh God, what were they called? Mid-South. It was Mid-South Wrestling back when it was still technically the old Mid-South, but it was far, far, far from the actual famous ownership of Mid-South. The company, though, was good. It was my first time going to an independent show. I didn't really like heavily watch a lot of independent stuff. Like I watched Ring of Honor, not really understanding that it was independence, just because I was seeing it on TV and stuff like CW, so I didn't really understand that was independence. And I'd see stuff on YouTube when I was a kid, but I never really knew there was an independent circuit. And so when I found out about Mid-South, I went to that show and then found out that there was an independent circuit and stuff like that, because right after the end of the first show, I kind of just walked up to one of the wrestlers at their table and asked, like, how do I get started doing this sort of thing? pointed me in the direction of the promoter, and that was it. It was literally the easiest thing I've ever done in my life. I was like, oh, this is how I start my dream. Tell me who I need to talk to. It was the most carny shit afterwards, but like it was like that's how it started. So, but
So what was the? We hear a lot of stories. We have a training center with from Seth Rollins right in our backyard. So we're a little everybody has a different training story. What was training like for you?
Oh, training was a hoot and a holler, man. So I was supposed to get started training with Mid-South. The promoter had me make a down payment of like 3 months of training to him and told me to start by coming to the shows. There wasn't really like a training facility, but there were shows like every 3 weeks. So he'd have me come, do the greenhorn thing, set up, tear down, help wherever I needed to do. And then if I was lucky, some of the guys would show me stuff while they had time before they practice their own match for the evening. It's like those dudes barely have time as it is. I know as a wrestler, I'm showing up probably 3 or 4 hours before the show even begins. So the last thing I want to do is like teach a guy how to lock up for his first time, so that was kind of my experience with that. But I was supposed to be getting trained by a guy named Drake Gallows, and that never ended up happening. I just kind of showed up and kept doing work and didn't get any sort of training. So I had to kind of just move on and find a different place, because by that point I had made a few connections just by doing all that and found out about a different school that was about an hour and a half away in Bristow, Oklahoma. I was getting trained by a guy named Brandon Groom. He's a really cool wrestler. He was wrestling at OVW and Florida Championship back in the early days, like 2004, 2005 kind of time. So he was also like a heavy Greco-Roman guy. Like he went to college for mat wrestling. So he really knew his stuff when it came down to like mat-based stuff and, really making sense of wrestling. So I really appreciated the time I got with him. But then I had to kind of justify not driving, 3 hours 2 times a week for wrestling training as a 19-year-old, because like I was also still in college at the time. Like I was trying to juggle that and a full-time job and wrestling training, and then also trying to go to the shows on the weekends. And so I had to find a place closer, and that's when Drake Gallows, the guy I had originally was supposed to be training me, found out about all this stuff, because he had never been told in the first place that he was supposed to be training me. And he goes, "Oh shit, kid, I'm sorry. Like I'm starting my own school. Come here." And so I actually did get to get trained by the guy that was supposed to train me.
What was expectations of training versus reality of training? Was it what you thought? Did it not live up to your, what outsider going into it? How was it?
I was kind of like, I guess I had kind of already had my expectations set, not like in a sense that they were exceeded or I was really surprised in a sort of sense, but it's like I spent a lot of my childhood, since the internet was at my fingertips, trying to figure out the inner workings of the business. And like I'd watch people's training videos of like how to do this move, and I would practice it endlessly on my trampoline and stuff. So like I spent a lot of my time trying to like successfully do the backyarder shit, but I would never film that kind of thing. It was always just like for fun with my friends. And so I think I kind of just had a unique grasp on wrestling going into it. I feel like the stuff that really shocked me wasn't even anything that was inside of the ropes. It's more so how wrestling is like 60 or 70% networking and knowing somebody, and then the other 30% is the wrestling and talent and getting over part of the business. Like you got to actually learn how to, conduct yourself as a business entity, but also still like be a person at the same time. So it's a weird juggle being entertainer and an independent contractor at the same time.
Absolutely. No, I definitely understand that. Fast forward a little bit. You're out of training. You're getting ready for your first match. Talk about that experience. What's it like going into the ring for the first time, coming out the curtain? Just walk us through that whole first match for you.
Yeah, so I started way too early. I got thrown into a Royal Rumble sort of thing that was happening for this promotion. I was only 6 months into my training, and granted, I did fine. I did fine. Nobody was hurt. I didn't get hurt. It probably looked like stinky poo poo. I don't think there's even footage of the match anymore, so I'm glad I don't have to, go and relive that. But it was a learning experience for sure, because in my head, I don't know why I thought a crowd would be like, "Oh, a new face, let's pop for him." So I was so disappointed when it was like crickets hitting the curtain, and like you're just there like, "Come on," and they're like, "Shut up." So it's definitely a harsh reality on trying to actually realize that like your shit don't stink, man. You gotta really get over with people and make a connection, or you're just not gonna get it. Like that's why I always felt like being like I'm 6 years in now. The first like 4 years of my career I was a heel. It is so much easier. I don't care what anybody says. It's so much easier to make someone hate you than it is to like you. Being a face when you start is impossible. At least in my experience, it was.
I've heard that a lot. I mean, I'm not a wrestler by any means. I'm a wrestling fan, but everybody that makes that comment or says something in that field is it's easy being the heel. It's easier to make people hate you. So I mean,
especially when you're making a match too, like the heel leads most of the matches, unless you have just like 20-year vet babyface in your match, like most of the time the heel leads, so like you get to pace things yourself. You don't have to be blown up to shit, and it's like it really helps kids in their younger year kind of like develop a sense of match structure. At least it did for me. So because when I made the flip to being a babyface, it was almost effortlessly, because I kind of just already knew what the role of a babyface needed to be just off of working heel for so many years.
You talked about it was easier being a heel. However, it was a smooth transition for you going from heel to a babyface.
Yeah.
And you talked about connecting with the crowd. Is it different connections from being a heel and a face, or are you just kind of tweaking a couple things?
Yeah, in a sense, my gimmick, the spotlight, I'm a huge Miz, Ric Flair kind of mark, and I kind of got the whole like arrogant ego, kind of not like a money gimmick, but I want all the attention sort of thing, and that's where that gimmick came from. But I realized, once I was slowly starting to realize that I was becoming face everywhere that I was like starting to wrestle, it was like slow seeds at first, because it was kind of people just understanding. I pull back the curtain completely on social media. Like unless it's a promo, I'm not working anybody. Most of my posts are genuine. And so I think a lot of people were seeing the work I was doing with the LGBTQ community, and then my fight against the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission here in Oklahoma to get some rules revised. I think that started to like slowly just turn the crowd's opinion on me. And I was in a few heel angles here and there, and a couple shows I was doing where I was kind of just being made like the brunt of the group's jokes, like the heel group's jokes, kind of like I guess like the JD McDonough or the Carlito of the Judgment Days. So people were really starting to feel sympathy for me for a little bit, and it just made things easy. So the way I kind of started looking at my gimmick is like a beacon of light, like a beacon of hope, something like a warm, like a ray of sunshine, man, like hope. Like when I have wrestling fans look at me, or kids see me, especially now that I'm a face and I represent such a marginalized community, I guess I would say, in the LGBTQ. I want people from that community, or people that are unsure if they belong to that community, or even regular people, like it doesn't matter, anybody. I want them to see me and be like, damn, so someone like that can do something like this, and kind of feel like a sense of inspiration from it.